Chosen one, you've been waiting. The prayers you've prayed, the tears you've cried, the moments when you questioned if anything would ever change. It's all led to this. What if I told you that the thing you've been praying for is already unlocked, and now God is waiting on you to move? That's right, the door is open. You've been wondering, when will it be my time? When will things shift? I'm here to tell you, that time is now. The place you've been in wasn't a punishment. It was preparation. But now that season is over. You can feel it in your spirit. God is saying, go. In this video, we're going to uncover exactly why the delay was divine, how to recognize the spiritual signal to move, and what to do when the moment comes. If this resonates with you, like this video and comment 77. Make sure to subscribe, share, and click the super thanks button to show your support. Thank you to all our membership subscribers. Your support makes these messages possible. Click the link in the description to join, and stay until the end, because the path ahead has just opened and you don't want to miss the signs. Why the delay was divine. The wait you've endured may have felt like an endless stretch of stillness, a quiet space where nothing seemed to change. But even in that silence, something profound was happening. You may have questioned the purpose of the waiting, wondering if you were stuck or if the universe had overlooked you. Yet beneath the surface, where you couldn't see, God was moving. The delay wasn't a denial. It was a divine holding pattern, allowing certain pieces to fall into place, certain lessons to sink into your heart, and certain strengths to grow within you. Like a seed planted deep in the earth, you couldn't see what was happening, but the roots were spreading, the foundation was forming. This period wasn't an accident. It was preparation for something far greater than you imagined. During this time, you likely felt the weight of uncertainty. It's not easy to wait when you long for change, when every part of you yearns to move forward. Maybe you struggled with doubt, asking yourself, why isn't anything happening? Perhaps you even looked around and saw others advancing, leaving you feeling left behind. The emotional toll of waiting can be heavy, can make you question your own worth, your own calling, and whether you've misunderstood the signs. But what you've gone through isn't unusual. It's part of a sacred process. Just as gold is refined through fire, you were being refined in the quiet moments. Those feelings of frustration and longing were not wasted. They were the building blocks of a stronger, more resilient you. Think about the Israelites leaving Egypt. God didn't take them directly to the promised land. He led them through the wilderness. In Exodus 13 verses 17 to 18, the scripture explains that God avoided the shorter route because the people were not yet ready for battle. Instead, He took them on a longer journey to prepare their hearts, to teach them trust, and to strengthen their faith. That delay wasn't a punishment. It was a blessing in disguise. It gave them the time and space they needed to grow into the people who could walk into the promise. Your delay served the same purpose. It wasn't God saying no. It was God saying, not yet. There's more I need to pour into you before you take that next step. As you start to recognize this, you'll see the signs of transformation that were happening all along. What seemed like stagnation was actually a deep internal shift. The doubts that once held you back began to fade, replaced by a quiet confidence. The uncertainty you felt pushed you to search deeper, to seek out truth, and to grow closer to God. Even before you realized it, the waiting season was producing patience, humility, and faith. Doors that seemed shut were only locked until you were ready to walk through them. When the waiting ended, you found that you were not the same person who first entered it. The process of delay transformed you, and those visible and invisible shifts were proof that you were being prepared. Behind the scenes, divine forces were working on your behalf. The moments you thought were wasted were actually part of a carefully orchestrated plan. God was aligning people, opportunities, and circumstances in ways you couldn't see. Much like a tapestry being woven on the reverse side, the intricate pattern wasn't visible to you yet, but every thread was placed intentionally. Your struggles were not tests of endurance, but invitations to trust. Each delay taught you to lean on God, to listen for His voice, and to understand that His timing is perfect. Divine intervention was setting the stage for your next chapter. The waiting wasn't random, it was a divine strategy, ensuring that when the time came, you would be fully equipped to step into your calling. Now, as you look back, you might start to realize that the waiting wasn't just preparation, it was also a gift. It was a season where you were given the opportunity to heal, to grow, and to reflect. Without that time, you might have rushed into something before you were ready, missing out on the fullness of what God had planned. Fear of the unknown often causes resistance, and many people avoid seeing the delay for what it truly is, a chance to align fully with their purpose. But this is a sacred moment. You're now standing on the threshold, fully aware that the delay shaped you into the person who can confidently step into the promise. It's no longer a question of whether you're ready. It's a question of embracing what you've become. The time has come to move forward. You no longer need to question the purpose of the delay. Instead, you can step boldly into the future, carrying the lessons, the strength, and the wisdom you've gained. This new season isn't about regret or what could have been. It's about what is now possible because of the journey you've taken. God has equipped you with everything you need to succeed. You've been refined by the waiting, prepared by the process, and now you are ready to step into the calling that has been waiting for you. The delay was divine, and it has led you to this moment. Comment equipped if you know the delay was divine preparation. Now, let's look at how to recognize the signal that it's time to move. The spiritual signal that your time has come. You might feel a stirring in your soul, a sense that something is different, though you can't quite explain it. It's as if the ground beneath you has shifted, making way for a path you didn't see before. These moments are often subtle. An unexpected conversation, a small opportunity, or a newfound sense of peace about something that once seemed daunting. What you're feeling isn't random. It's a spiritual signal, a gentle nudge from God that whispers, "Now is the time." Maybe you've been waiting for a clear sign, something dramatic and undeniable, but often it's the quiet shifts that hold the greatest power. These are the moments when heaven meets your spirit, prompting you to move forward. This shift can bring confusion. You may find yourself wondering if you're imagining things. Perhaps you felt blocked for so long that it's hard to trust when doors finally start to open. You ask yourself, is this really happening? Could this be the answer I've been waiting for? That doubt, that hesitation is natural. When you've spent months or even years feeling stuck, it's not easy to believe that your season has changed. But pay attention to what's happening around you. The opportunities that were once out of reach now seem within your grasp. The fears that kept you in place no longer seem as overwhelming. The emotional weight you've carried starts to lift, making room for hope and possibility. This is not a coincidence. This is the spiritual signal that the time has come. Consider the story of Elijah's servant in 1 Kings 18 verse 44. After a long drought, Elijah sent his servant to look toward the sea. 6 times the servant saw nothing, but on the 7th time, he noticed a small cloud rising from the sea, no bigger than a man's hand. That small cloud was all Elijah needed to know the rain was on its way. It wasn't a storm in the sky, a booming voice from heaven, or a sudden downpour. It was a subtle but undeniable sign that the season had shifted. Sometimes God works through these smaller signals. You may not see the full picture yet, but that stirring in your spirit, that shift in circumstances, these are your small clouds, letting you know that the time has come. As you begin to recognize this spiritual signal, you'll notice changes both within and around you. Your perspective starts to shift, making what once seemed impossible feel achievable. You find yourself more open to opportunities that you may have ignored before. Small encounters, someone offering help, a chance meeting, or even a random comment, suddenly feel significant. These moments are like puzzle pieces clicking into place, giving you a clearer picture of the path ahead. You'll begin to feel a sense of alignment, as if the universe is moving with you rather than against you. The signs are all around you, and as you tune into them, the invisible becomes visible. Divine timing is no longer a concept. It's something you can feel, something you can trust. It's not just circumstances that change. Your inner world shifts too. The doubt that held you back starts to lose its grip. The fear of failure that once paralyzed you begins to fade. You realize that what you thought were obstacles were actually stepping stones, each one preparing you for this very moment. The clarity you've been searching for emerges from within. You sense that God's hand has been guiding you all along, even when you couldn't see it. This realization brings a deep sense of peace, a knowing that you are exactly where you need to be. The spiritual signal is more than just an external event. It's an internal awakening that says, you're ready. Yet even as the signs become clear, there's often a lingering hesitation. Change can be intimidating. The unknown is always a little scary, but the signal you're receiving now is not one of fear. It's one of encouragement. It's God's way of telling you that the work He's done in you is enough, that you're prepared for the next step. Many people resist this moment, waiting for even more clarity or a stronger push. But true alignment doesn't come from waiting, it comes from trusting. This is the sacred moment when you must decide to move forward, to step into the opportunity that's been prepared for you. The spiritual signal is not just an invitation, it's a call to action. So how do you respond to this call? You take a step. It doesn't have to be a big one. It doesn't have to be perfect. What matters is that you move. The small shifts you felt are pointing you in the right direction. Trust those feelings. Trust the signs. Trust that God has not brought you this far to leave you now. The time to act is not tomorrow or next week. The time to act is now. Each step forward strengthens your faith and confirms that you're on the right path. The spiritual signal has been given, and now it's up to you to respond. Comment go if you've noticed the signs and are ready to move forward. The door is open. The path is clear. This is your time. What happens the moment you obey? When you finally take that step, when you move forward despite the uncertainty, despite the fear, it feels like the whole world begins to shift. It's as if you've been climbing a mountain in dense fog, unsure of the path ahead, and then suddenly, the fog lifts. What once seemed so distant, so difficult, now comes into view. You may have spent months, even years, praying for clarity, for direction, for a breakthrough. And then, in that moment of obedience, something clicks. You realize that everything you need is already within reach. That act of faith, that willingness to trust without guarantees, sets a cascade of events into motion. It's not that the road becomes easy. It's that your steps align with divine timing. What felt like an uphill battle now feels like a dance of synchronicity, where the right people, the right opportunities, and the right insights come together. Before you take that first step, the struggle can feel endless. You might feel weighed down by doubts, uncertain if you're making the right decision, unsure if you're even capable. Maybe you've tried to take action before and things didn't work out, leaving you hesitant to try again. That hesitation is powerful, isn't it? It can keep you stuck in a place of waiting, of overthinking, of second-guessing yourself. You've told yourself that once things are clearer, once the road is smoother, you'll move. But what you didn't realize is that clarity often comes after you take the first step, not before. By staying still, you've been holding back the very momentum that's waiting to propel you forward. That's why obedience, acting in faith, is so transformative. It's not just a decision, it's a declaration of trust, a surrendering of control, and a willingness to let God take the lead. Consider the Israelites standing at the edge of the Jordan River. The water didn't stop flowing because of their prayers alone. It stopped when the priests carrying the ark stepped into the river. Joshua 3 verses 15 to 16 tells us that as soon as their feet touched the water's edge, the flow from upstream stopped and piled up in a heap. It wasn't their strength that caused the water to part. It wasn't their might or their strategy. It was their obedience, their willingness to step into something that seemed impossible. In the same way, your act of obedience shifts the spiritual atmosphere around you. It signals that you're ready, that you trust the process, that you're no longer held back by fear or doubt. And that shift makes way for the extraordinary. The moment you step out, God steps in. You'll start to see evidence of change. Doors that were once tightly shut begin to open. People who seemed indifferent before suddenly offer support. Resources that felt out of reach come into view. And the timing feels impeccable. It's like a puzzle you've been working on for years suddenly clicks into place. You realize that what you needed was never missing. It was always there, waiting for you to take that first step of faith. This is the beauty of divine timing. When you move in alignment with it, the path ahead becomes clear. It doesn't mean every obstacle disappears, but you gain the perspective and strength to overcome them. You no longer feel like you're fighting against the current. Instead, you're flowing with it, allowing the current to carry you to places you never thought possible. Behind the scenes, forces you couldn't see were already at work. The delays you experienced weren't denials. The frustrations weren't failures. Every moment was preparing you for this one. When you stepped out in obedience, you aligned yourself with a divine plan that was always moving toward you. What once felt like resistance now feels like a doorway. What once seemed like closed-off opportunities now seem like invitations. You realize that the struggle wasn't about proving yourself. It was about positioning yourself. Each hardship, each moment of waiting, each prayer was shaping you, so that when you took that step, you would be ready. The moment of obedience wasn't just about action. It was about activation of faith, of purpose, of destiny. This realization brings clarity. You see that stepping out wasn't the end of the journey. It was the beginning of a new chapter. As the path unfolds, you recognize that obedience isn't a one-time act. It's a way of life. It's a daily choice to trust, to move forward, and to remain open to the opportunities that come your way. With each step you take, you grow stronger. The doubts that once loomed large now shrink into the background. The fears that once paralyzed you lose their grip. You find a rhythm, a sense of confidence that wasn't there before. This is what obedience does. It transforms hesitation into momentum, uncertainty into clarity, and fear into faith. It changes how you see yourself and how you navigate the world. Now that you've experienced the shift, it's time to fully embrace it. You've seen what happens when you act in obedience. You've felt the difference it makes. So don't stop now. Keep moving forward. Trust that the same God who called you to step out will continue to guide you. Trust that the momentum you've gained is just the beginning. This is your new reality. A life where you walk in alignment with purpose, where you see the fruits of faith, and where you recognize that every step you take is part of a larger plan. You're no longer waiting for a sign. You are the sign, the evidence that obedience leads to transformation. Comment a line if you're ready to step into divine momentum. The moment of obedience changes everything. It opens doors, it clears paths, and it sets you on a journey that no longer feels impossible. Keep moving, keep trusting, and watch as the world around you aligns with the purpose you were always meant to fulfill. The resistance you'll face before you leave. When you stand on the edge of a breakthrough, you might feel an unusual pressure bearing down on you. This pressure isn't just in your circumstances. It's in your mind, your emotions, even your spirit. Suddenly, the path that seemed so clear a moment ago feels clouded. Doubts creep in, whispering questions you thought you'd already answered. What if I fail? What if I'm not ready? What if this isn't the right time? These thoughts can feel overwhelming, especially when you've spent so much time preparing for this moment. You may find yourself second-guessing decisions you were once confident in, wondering if the ground you're about to step onto will hold your weight. It's a tense, uncertain moment that can leave you feeling paralyzed and alone. What makes this resistance even more challenging is the people around you. You've likely shared parts of your vision with others, friends, family, colleagues, and now, as you prepare to move forward, their voices seem louder than ever. They may question your plans, your timing, even your ability to succeed. They'll point out risks you hadn't considered, remind you of past failures, and ask why you would leave behind what's comfortable and familiar. You start to wonder if they're right. It's one thing to battle your own doubts, but when they chime in, it adds another layer of resistance. Their words might come from a place of concern, but in this pivotal moment, it feels like they're pulling you backward instead of cheering you on. Nehemiah faced this kind of resistance when rebuilding the wall of Jerusalem. In Nehemiah 6, his enemies repeatedly tried to distract and intimidate him, hoping he would abandon the work. They sent letters filled with lies, threatened him, and spread rumors to sow fear. But Nehemiah didn't stop. He didn't let their words or actions deter him. Instead, he recognized the resistance for what it was, a test. He knew that their efforts to derail him only proved that he was doing something significant. Like Nehemiah, you must see the resistance not as a sign of failure, but as a confirmation that you are on the brink of something important. As the resistance builds, you'll begin to notice a shift in your own perspective. At first, the doubt feels overwhelming, but as you stay focused, you'll see it for what it is: a last-ditch effort to keep you from moving forward. The fears that once seemed insurmountable start to lose their power. You realize that the voices around you, and even the ones within, don't have to define your path. You find yourself growing more determined, more resolute. The opposition doesn't disappear, but your confidence in your purpose strengthens. You start to see that every pushback, every challenge, is part of the process. It's proof that you're on the right track. Behind the scenes, there's more at play than what meets the eye. The resistance isn't just about you. It's about the impact of what you're about to do. The forces that don't want you to succeed know that if you step forward, you'll bring light to others. You'll inspire, lead, and help those who have been waiting for someone to rise up. This isn't just a test of endurance. It's a setup for elevation. The resistance is a refining fire, burning away doubt, hesitation, and fear. With each step you take, you align more closely with your purpose. You start to see that the resistance isn't a wall. It's a doorway. The struggle is a signal that you're stepping into a greater calling. There's a moment when this realization becomes undeniable. The doubts may still linger, but they no longer control you. The voices of others may still sound, but they no longer define your choices. You come to see that the resistance was never about stopping you. It was about strengthening you. True alignment with your purpose requires this moment of self-realization. You must decide to push through, to keep building, to stay focused even when everything around you says to stop. The resistance becomes a mirror, reflecting your growth, your resilience, and your readiness. It's not enough to notice the resistance. You must embrace it as a necessary part of the journey. At this point, you're not just enduring the resistance, you're using it as fuel. Each challenge you face becomes a reminder of why you started. Each moment of doubt becomes an opportunity to affirm your purpose. The people who once questioned you may still doubt, but their words no longer have the same effect. You've grown stronger, more focused, more confident. You're no longer battling against the resistance. You're walking through it one step at a time. With each step, you feel a sense of empowerment, a reminder that you were chosen for this journey. The resistance that once seemed so daunting now feels like a confirmation of the greatness that lies ahead. Comment focused if you're determined to overcome the resistance. Now, let's talk about how to move forward with confidence. How to walk into the unknown with confidence. Standing on the edge of something new can feel overwhelming. You've felt the pull toward change, but stepping into the unknown often brings a mix of excitement and fear. It's natural to wonder if you're ready, if you have what it takes, if the next step will lead to success or disappointment. This uncertainty can weigh heavily, making you second-guess your decisions and your direction. But what if you viewed this moment not as a test of your readiness, but as a call to trust? Trust that you are prepared. Trust that the process you've been through wasn't for nothing. And trust that, even if you don't know exactly what's ahead, the path will unfold as you walk it. The unknown is often where growth happens. Think about the times in your life when you learned the most. They likely weren't the times when everything went according to plan. Instead, it was in the moments of doubt, challenge, and uncertainty that you found resilience, clarity, and strength. But stepping into the unknown can still be intimidating. Maybe you've been told to play it safe, to stay where it's comfortable, to stick with what's familiar. Those words can be hard to shake, especially when they seem so sure of their caution. But you can't stay where you are. The pull toward something greater is too strong. The unknown may seem like a risk, but it's also an invitation to trust in something bigger than yourself and to embrace the potential that comes with stepping into the mystery. In Isaiah 41 verse 10, we find this promise: "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." This verse isn't just an encouragement. It's a blueprint for how to face the unknown. You don't have to know every step ahead, because you walk with one who does. In this journey, you're not walking alone. Each step forward, no matter how small, is met by divine guidance and provision. Like Peter stepping out of the boat to walk on water, the focus isn't on the waves. It's on who calls you forward. Your steps are anchored not in what you see, but in what you trust. You're not being led into chaos. You're being led into growth, into purpose, into the fullness of who you were created to be. As you move forward, you'll start to notice the shifts. Confidence doesn't always come before the leap. It often grows as you take it. Each step you take, no matter how uncertain it feels, strengthens your resolve. The doubts that once loomed large begin to fade, replaced by a sense of momentum and possibility. You see signs of alignment, people who offer support you didn't expect, opportunities that seem to appear out of nowhere, and a growing sense of peace even in the midst of uncertainty. The path isn't always smooth, but it becomes clearer. You realize that the unknown isn't a void. It's a canvas, waiting for you to step forward and paint the next chapter of your journey. Behind the scenes, there's a divine hand at work. Every struggle you've faced, every delay you've endured, has prepared you for this moment. The waiting wasn't wasted. The resistance wasn't pointless. The open door before you isn't just a chance. It's a culmination of everything you've been prepared for. Divine timing is at play, aligning circumstances, people, and opportunities in ways you couldn't have orchestrated on your own. When you step into the unknown, you're not stepping into nothingness. You're stepping into a plan that's been unfolding since the very beginning. This isn't blind faith. It's trusting that the one who brought you this far will carry you the rest of the way. This realization shifts everything. You begin to see that the unknown is not something to fear, but something to embrace. It's the space where transformation occurs. It's the moment when you stop relying solely on your own understanding and start leaning into a greater wisdom. Fear of the unknown is natural, but it doesn't have to control you. True confidence comes from knowing that you're not walking into the unknown alone. You're walking into it with the creator of the universe guiding your steps. You realize that the strength you need isn't something you have to muster up. It's something that's been promised to you. This is the sacred moment when fear gives way to faith. As you continue forward, remember that you don't need all the answers right now. The unknown isn't about having everything figured out. It's about having the courage to begin. Confidence doesn't mean you never feel afraid. It means you trust enough to move forward despite the fear. Each step you take builds your faith. Each moment of uncertainty strengthens your resolve. Each challenge you face deepens your connection to the path you're meant to walk. You don't have to do it all at once. You just have to keep moving. Over time, you'll look back and see how far you've come. You'll realize that the unknown wasn't a barrier. It was a bridge. With each new step, you become more attuned to the guidance that was always present. It's not just about hearing a clear voice or seeing an unmistakable sign. It's about recognizing the gentle nudges, the inner prompts that steer you forward. You start to trust your instincts, which are increasingly aligned with the bigger plan. You notice that challenges, instead of holding you back, actually propel you into new levels of growth. The unknown becomes less of a mystery and more of a partnership between you and the divine. It's in these moments that you realize you don't need to fear what you can't see. You can trust what you feel, what you know deep down, even if you don't fully understand it yet. One of the most profound shifts you'll experience is in how you view setbacks. In the past, an obstacle might have felt like confirmation that you were on the wrong path. Now, you see it differently. Every challenge becomes a chance to reinforce your faith, to step up rather than step back. When the unknown reveals a closed door or an unexpected detour, you no longer see it as a failure. You see it as a recalibration, a divine adjustment that ultimately guides you toward something better. This perspective transforms your entire journey. Instead of fearing the unknown, you start to embrace it as an essential part of the process. The confidence you gain from this shift is a lasting one, rooted in the certainty that nothing is wasted. As your trust deepens, you begin to inspire others simply by how you walk your path. You may not have all the answers, but your willingness to step into the unknown encourages those around you to do the same. People start to see the courage in your journey and find courage for their own. It's a ripple effect. Your faith sparks their faith, your growth sparks their growth. And while the unknown still holds mysteries, you've found a rhythm within it. A steady, confident stride that shows others what's possible. Comment confident if you're ready to move forward with faith. The unknown is no longer something to avoid, something to embrace. It's where your growth lies, where your purpose becomes clear, and where your destiny unfolds. Keep walking, keep trusting. The journey ahead is one of transformation, and you are fully equipped to take it.